Well, welcome to the Bella Grace podcast, where we are helping you transform your life, mind, body, and soul. Whether you're struggling to find balance using unhealthy behaviors or drugs or alcohol to cope, or just want to unlock the root cause of what's holding you back from living your best life, Bella Grace Coaching can help you transform your life, mind, body, and soul. And today we are talking about
the power of positive self-talk.
Yes.
There we go. So the power of positive self-talk. This is a big one.
Yeah.
I think I'm guilty of it.
Yeah. Everybody's guilty of it.
Of the negative self-talk, right?
Yes.
Like positive self-talk is powerful.
Very powerful.
But we default to negative self-talk.
Yes.
That is our auto response, I feel like. And I feel like you have to train yourself to talk positive to yourself.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No, because I've done it too, where I say something subconsciously.
Yeah.
And then my kids hear it, and then I'm like, oh no, like, what am I teaching them? What am I training them? Like, no. And then I stop them. Like, if I say, oh, I'm so stupid.
Yes.
Like, or, oh, I'm so dumb. Or like, well, when I say those things, my kids repeat them. And the more you repeat certain words, the more you keep attracting that stuff. So for me, that's been a big eye opener where I'm like, oh, I have to be careful with what I say to myself and also what I'm teaching them, because that's what they're growing up to listen to, and how what they say about themselves is how they see themselves.
Yeah. So let's first set the scene. Let's define negative self-talk versus positive self-talk.
Okay.
So for me, negative self-talk, like you said, looks like me saying, oh my gosh, I can't do that. I can't go to I don't want to go to the beach this summer because I'm too fat. I've gained way too much weight. I don't fit into my bathing suit.
Yeah.
I've got to buy new bathing suits and I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I need to lose weight and fit into my old bathing suits. And that is negative self-talk. You might think, okay, well, I'm telling myself I need to lose weight. I'm motivating myself to lose weight. But no, that is negative self-talk because you're putting yourself down.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Positive self-talk in that situation looks like I have a body that moves, so I'm going to go to the gym so that I can stay healthy and happy and be here for my kids. And we talked about this when we talked about health and nutrition, exercise. What was it? Exercise and nutrition.
Yeah,
I think was the topic in that discussion. But that is the difference between negative self-talk and positive self-talk is the way that you phrase it.
Yeah.
And like you said, and we said this during the nutrition and exercise, what you tell your brain is what your brain is going to produce.
Yeah.
Your brain is like Google.
Yeah.
It is. It listens, and what you say is what it's going to try to give you.
You know what I say? Words have power.
They do.
Words have power. Yep.
Yeah. And the words that you say to yourself are the most powerful, but what you say to yourself, your kids hear. So we're both moms. And I try really hard not to tell my daughter that she can't do something.
Yeah.
I encourage her to try new things.
Yeah, the same here.
Yeah. I advise her of the potential risks.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Yep.
Like, well, I mean, yeah, go for it. Do it. Try out. Go for it. Try it. Whatever it is. Just know that you could potentially end up with fill in the blank, a concussion.
Yeah.
You could fall off the side of a cliff. You could whatever. Here's the risks, but go for it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like our generation was told no a lot. Like you were either, if you did do something, you were given a trophy for participation.
We were forced also.
Yeah. We didn't have a choice. I know, like, a lot of
we didn't
kids,
have a say.
Yeah, if your mom was like, you're doing soccer, you're doing soccer.
But why? Because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so we got trophies for participation. We're the participation trophy generation.
Oh no, is that really what we are?
Yeah, unfortunately, because you're a millennial too, right?
Yeah.
So we were the start of the participation trophy generation. But then, so whenever we fail at something, we beat ourselves up about it. And we're like, why? We must suck. We can't do that. And the negative self-talk starts.
Yeah.
And it will hold you back.
Yeah. You know what I tell my daughter? She's like, well, I don't know if I really want to do this. And I said, well, I'm not going to force you to do something you don't want to do, but if you don't do it, how are you supposed to know if you're good at it, if you like it, if you don't give it a try? Just give it a try. You can always just quit. You can always just, at least you know.
Yeah.
But I always give her that too. Because, and that's what I do to myself too. Whenever I'm walking into something that I'm unfamiliar with, that I'm scared of, or that, I feel nervous about, I'm like, well, I don't lose anything by trying. And like, I don't want to say a bad word, but screw it. Just let's, I'm going to take the leap of faith and just see what happens. Because you just never know. Like, you can't, get stuck because you're, listening to these negative voices in your head where you're like, no, you can't. No, like you're going to fail. Like, you just never know. You have to just, I guess, be optimistic and say, okay, I'm going to do this and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah. I think positive self-talk looks like giving yourself permission to fail.
Yeah, and it's okay to fail because you learn a lesson too.
Yeah. Who was it? I think it was, maybe it was Walt Disney. I can't remember. But they said that failure is an opportunity to learn. And so it is, without failure, we never grow.
No.
Right? Like, think about when you're riding a bike and when you're first learning how to ride a bike with no training wheels and you get on the bike, nobody is able to ride a bike without training wheels for the first time without falling.
Yeah.
Like, it is hard, right? Like, learning to hold your balance on a bike is hard.
It's hard.
But if you just give up and you're like, oh, I can't do it, and just walk away, you're never going to learn how to ride a bike.
No.
You have to get back up on the bike and try again.
Keep trying.
Right? And you have to tell yourself, okay, I can do it this time. I can do it this time. You're not getting back on the bike and saying, oh my God, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just going to fall again. Like, no. If you were telling yourself that, you would have put the bike away and gone and, never ridden a bike again. But if you can ride a bike as an adult, that means that at one point you knew how to hype yourself up. You were your best hype man. And you got yourself up off that gravel driveway, whatever.
This just reminds me when you were like, you have to hype yourself up. It reminds me of me being in front of a mirror. And I always say stupid things. But what I say is like, you got this.
Yeah.
You're up.
Yes. You do.
I always say that, and I'm being goofy or whatever, but that makes me feel good, and it just reminds me, okay, I got this. No matter what happens today, I got this.
Yeah.
And even if I fall apart, I still got this in tears, whatever, because you have to be your own motivator, because you're not always going to have someone telling you, hey, Teresa, you got this, like, you can do it. No, you have to learn to lift yourself up and say, you know what, today's a brand new day. No matter what happens, try your best, and your best is more than enough, and you got this. Like, slay.
Yes, my daughter says, slay queen.
Oh my God. What are these new words the kids are
I
using?
know.
My daughter and her friends use. That's so aesthetic.
Oh yeah, they do. Yes, I know.
Slang.
Yeah.
Our millennial slang was better.
Yes,
Yeah.
we had better words,
Yeah,
guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
But whatever. But you do. You have to be your own hype man. Mel Robbins has a reel out there, and she says it all the time in podcasts. But she says no one is coming to make you train for that marathon. No one is coming to make you apply for that job. No one is coming to save you. You must do it yourself.
This sounds like self-sabotage.
Yeah.
And that's normal because I think I was guilty of that too, because I would just replay the negative. But then I was like, no, why am I focusing on the negative? Focus on the positive and just continue to play that over and over and over.
Yeah.
And you have to.
You were dealing with this.
Yeah, I was.
With the negative self-talk last week.
Yeah.
About the podcast.
And if you've been through trauma or you had I guess no negative or no positive figure in your life, you're gonna replay the words that was spoken over you. Yes. And let me just tell you that although it was spoken on you, that doesn't mean you have to accept that.
Yeah.
Because whatever comes out of someone else's mouth to you, it's not speaking about you, it's speaking about what is in their heart. Like if you have a lot of self-loathe, hatred, anger, bitterness, that's all that's going to come out of your mouth. And that's what you're going to project onto others. And so I learned that what people think and say or what they say to you how they're bringing you can't. Like there's this saying in Spanish, it's I'm gonna try to say it in English, but it's probably not gonna sound as funny.
Say it in Spanish, and then we'll attempt to translate it into. I always say Spanish does not translate well into
No,
English.
it doesn't. I'm trying to think. It goes like, tú eres agua y yo jabón.
Oh yeah.
Y todo lo que me. I don't know, but
in English it's the one that says
in Venezuela.
in English it's the one
like
that
saying,
says I'm rubber and you're glue. Okay. Whatever you throw at me bounces off of me and sticks to you.
There you go.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, because it's true. Like people are saying if they're happy, they're gonna give you positive, good, feedback. And if they're angry and bitter or whatever, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you suck."
Yeah, but you have to be constantly talking positively to yourself so that when people's negative words come at you, you are so firm in your positive foundation that when they say, "Oh, Rosie, you shouldn't be doing this," or "Oh, Rosie, you don't belong on that podcast. Oh, Rosie, you sound stupid on the podcast." Like,
no, I don't.
You are so rooted in your purpose and in your positive mindset of yourself that it just bounces right off.
And it's sort of like this words of affirmation. You have to constantly tell yourself these things so that they can stay rooted in you, and then you become what you believe.
You do, yeah.
And if you're believing the bad in the negative, that's what you're gonna become. That's how you're going to feel. But if you don't, you're gonna shine. You're gonna be the best that you can because you're gonna be like, well, I am good at this. This is who I am, and I like myself. I am beautiful. I am strong. I am confident. And these are certain things that I used to tell my daughter. When she was younger, I used to, before I would have her open the door, I would say, repeat after me. And I would tell her, say, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I am loved, I am confident, I can do anything I set my mind to. And she would get annoyed because it was the same thing every day. But it helped her a lot because it helped her self-esteem. And she was like clinched to these words that I was speaking over her, that she was speaking over herself.
Yeah.
So then when certain people would tell her certain things, she would be like, oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because she knew who she was because of those words that she accepted, that were positive things that she accepted.
And your daughter is introverted.
Yes, she is. She is.
I think it's really important to instill that in our kids, that regardless of whether they're introverted or extroverted, because the extroverted kids tend to be the popular ones, right? They tend to be the in crowd. They tend to be the ones that people flock to.
Yeah.
They grab the attention of the room. But sometimes they are the most insecure. They are the most wounded.
And it goes like this. Confidence is quiet. Insecurity is loud.
Yeah. And so it's important to teach your kids how to be secure in themselves, regardless of their outward personality, right? Because the flip side of that is that, yes, the extroverted kids grab the attention of people, and they may be some of the most wounded, some of the most insecure. The introverted kids will most likely be the target of bullying. They are also likely to be left out. They are also likely to be the last one picked for games, for group projects, whatever. And they could be hurt, insecure. They could be all of those things. They could also be totally content on their own.
Yeah, of course.
But the bottom line is that we need to be allowing our kids to feel secure in whatever their personality is.
Yeah.
So that when they are adults and they're in a new situation, they're so well rooted in who they are.
They're like, so I don't care. That's
like
what
your
we
daughter.
used to say. Yeah. That's what my daughter says and my son too. Like he'll tell me, oh, well, my friend called me this and it made me angry. And I'm like, well, is it true? No. Then
what's the big deal?
Yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah.
But because I feel like
we're emotional creatures.
We are, and we get wrapped up in other people's opinions of us, which is what we talked about last week, the fear of judgment. But we need to have that positive self-talk rooted in us so that we aren't shaken when other people's words come against us.
Yeah.
Or when the world's standard of beauty comes against us.
Yeah. So this just reminds me of what God says about you in the Bible. God, there's like so many chapters I can't even like pinpoint one, but where God tells you who you are. You find your identity in God. But I always speak about, if I talk about God, I'm going to speak about the devil, like how he confuses you, how he puts all these words, negative self-talk, confusion in your head. But you have to learn to discern the words that are creeping into you that are not from God.
Yeah.
So, because if you're not careful, you can get caught up in the cycle and it'll destroy you. Yeah. So when I go through this stuff, like I even need you to be like, hey, no, what does God say about you?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, God says I am strong, I am beautiful, I am confident, and I got this, and I am,
Yeah. I'm fearfully, wonderfully made. Which goes back to our episode last week about friendships, the importance of building healthy friendships. Because sometimes you do need an outside voice to come in and say, hey, what you're telling yourself is not right.
Yeah.
That's not true. And here is what you need to be telling yourself.
Yeah.
So it is important to have people who can also pour into you when you're talking to yourself negatively. Yeah.
Because we're not perfect and we're going to have these moments where we're just in our heads because we all get triggered by certain things that we're still healing from or we healed from, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to have those triggers. So it's just always having to remind yourself like who you are and and just stick to that. Like find one word, like love or confidence or something. Think about the good things about you, like what you love about yourself. Like this just reminds me of like those videos you see online of like little girls who stand in front of the mirror and they say, I am strong, I am beautiful, I am so and so and so. Yeah. Because that really does matter. What you think and what you say about yourself is what you become.
Yeah, for me, it is, I have been through a lot of transitional periods in my life, and I will let other people's opinions of me bring me down, right? Like they don't shape me. Like I'm not, when I was a teenager, they shaped me. If someone said that I was fill in the blank, I would do my hardest work to be the opposite. Right? Like if they were talking badly about me and they were like, she's blah, 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 I'd do the opposite.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would dig in and prove them right. Right? Like I would just do it, but just out of spite, like, oh, you want to call me whatever? Then here
That's
I
what
am.
you're going to get. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but now I have come to realize who I am. And when other people's opinions of me don't align with who I am trying to be and who I know I am, then I move away from that. And I know some people who cling to past relationships, past friendships, because that's all they've ever known. And they find their identity in those people.
They don't know how to break free.
Yeah. And when they try to move away from that lifestyle or move away from that part of their life, that chapter, that season of their life, they don't know how to break away from those people because their identity has been tied to those people in that season. And so it's at that point that you need to reestablish who you are through positive self-talk and saying to yourself, I am more than whatever. I am more, I deserve more. I am working towards more. I am going to be more. Because if you don't keep telling yourself that, you will be pulled back to the old friends, the old season, and the old way of living. Because the negative self-talk will take over, and you will start to tell yourself, I shouldn't be here. I don't deserve to go there. I only belong there. Those are the only people who will accept me. Those are the only places that I can work. Those are the only jobs that I'm able to get. So you have to break that cycle by talking to yourself and saying, no, I am loved. I am confident. I am successful. I am going to make these changes. And I deserve to have friendships who support me. I deserve to have people in my life who support me. And I'm going to find them. I always say positive self-talk should be present tense, not future tense. So I am working on me, like currently doing it, right? Like I am working towards my master's degree. Not I'm going to have a master's degree, right? Like that's future tense. That's future focused. But positive self-talk should be right now, and it should reflect you as you want to be. It also needs to be real, because if it's crazy, like I'm a millionaire, right? Like if I'm telling myself I'm a millionaire, your brain is like, no, you're not, silly.
Like,
no, you're not. And there's no way for us to get that. So that is an imagination, imaginary idea, and that's not going to happen.
Positive self-talk can be like, I am the best. I got this. Nothing's going to bring me down today.
I can handle anything that comes my way. I can handle this with grace. Today, I will be happy. Today, I will find joy in the little things. Today, I am enough. And it also, so those are kind of like goal focused or like intentionally focused positive self-talk. But self-talk for yourself, my body is strong.
Yeah.
I am working on my leg strength. Like for me, my back is always it's always messing with me. So for me, positive self-talk about my body, because it would be very easy for me to just give up and say, look, my legs are numb. I can't get up. I'm just not going to go for a run today. I'm not going to run ever again. But instead, I tell myself my body functions well. I am able to walk and I am able to run. And I tell myself that because then I get up for a walk and the walk turns into a jog. And
Oh, I'm so glad you said that.
And then I get home and my brain has that release, right? That dopamine release, that endorphin release, and my brain is like, ooh, let's do more of that. So then my brain says, I am strong, I am able to walk, I am able to run. And tomorrow I get up and I go for a walk and then it turns into a jog. And it's a cycle that is repeating itself and instilling it in my brain that I am strong and I am capable.
Yes. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen certain people when I'm out and about where they have tattoos to remind them of those things. Like I've seen a waitress with a tattoo on her neck that said enough. Or I am worthy, or I am loved, or just positive
reminder.
Oh yes, on one of the sides she had, this was last weekend, on one side she had this tattoo that said think positive. And I think, and I was like, wow, that's amazing, because yes, you have to tell yourself that, but you also need a reminder here in there. And I was like, that's great, because sometimes you're having a bad day and you're like, oh, but then if you think, okay, well, I am enough, think positive, then you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna think positive. I'm gonna gonna let this go, because then this is gonna ruin my day.
I have an app and it's like a motivation app, and you can choose like what topics, what phrases you want it to pop up. And it sends me a notification once an hour with either a motivational quote, or I can type in my own affirmation or my own positive thought. And it sends it to me every hour. And there are some days when I'm like ready to throw my laptop through my front window. And because I am frustrated with work or whatever, and that little notification pops up and it's like, I am enough. And I'm like, oh yeah.
For me, it's like, I got this. I'm dying and I'm crying with tears, but I got this and I'm going to survive. That's just for me. But so when you were talking about how you have to speak about your body positively about your body, and how that just prepares you for your walk, that when you were saying that, it made me think about doctors and this research that recently came out about cancer patients. That the people who have cancer, who have positive thoughts and affirmations, and who speak life onto their body and their soul, are more likely to survive cancer than those who aren't. And that's just like, wow, the power of words, like literally the power of words. Because and I think there's another research where plants, like if you speak to them, if you speak to them, give them love, pour onto them, they bloom, they're beautiful. But if you
ignore them,
and you neglect them, no water, and you also don't show them love or tell them nice things, and they're around in a negative environment, they die.
That was I found that study really fascinating. It was like this set of plants got spoken words of affirmation to it, and it was like a happy room and good things and laughter happened with these plants. And then in this plant room, the plants got yelled at and there was just negativity.
Yeah.
And the plants with the positive room bloomed and were gorgeous, and the ones over at the negative room like failed to grow. Like they died and they wilted. And if it affects plants, guys, like,
and what does it do to your soul, to your spirit, to your body,
your brain, like to your mind?
Mm-hmm.
It is, yeah.
I like to surround myself with the people who are positive, honestly, because sometimes their positivity, like, it does something to me. It uplifts me, and I love that. Like, people who uplift each other and who are speaking life over you. I love that, because when you pour into yourself, you can pour onto others. And other people can pour into you in a positive way.
So when you're really struggling, so Pastor Stephen Furtick from Elevation Church, I listen to his sermons.
I love him.
Yeah, I watch.
I mean, I like him because saying I love him means like I love you, I want to marry you.
There's all kinds of definitions of the word love. There's agape.
Should I say? Yeah, because it's like, oh, I love him. What if his wife is watching this? I don't love him.
Was it phileo love? I think it's phileo love, where it's like friendship. Yeah. But anyway, so he says, like, if you're running low on joy or you're running low on positivity, come into the house of God and steal someone else's faith. Borrow someone else's joy. Like, sit next to the lady that, exactly. Sit next to the crazy lady that's got her hands lifted and is like overjoyed with emotion, like the happy lady, and just go sit next to her and steal some of her faith, like some of her joy. You know what I mean? Like, borrow and just leech some of it off of her.
Some people's light is just so bright. It's so consuming. It's consuming. No, it's just so like you just can't help it.
To be absorbed in it. Yeah, it's so contagious.
Yes, there you go. That's the word.
Yeah, and so like if you're struggling with negative self-talk, my biggest is to go find someone who thrives in positivity. Like,
you want to surround yourself with those people.
Go to someone who you see as confident, who you see as joyful, who has that light that you can't quite explain, and just be around them, because it is contagious. Positivity is contagious. And then start talking to yourself the way that they talk to themselves. You can tell a lot about a person by the way they talk about themselves.
Or others.
Like, if, Rosie is like, she looks cute and she knows it. She knows her hair is pretty, and, like, I've never seen, okay, I've heard you talk negatively about yourself.
Yeah, you see me looking like a hot mess too.
I have, but no, only though I've only ever heard you talk bad about yourself in regard to the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yes. And you're like, I feel like I sound stupid. I feel like I look crazy.
That's a different episode. If you missed it, it was like 2 episodes down.
Yeah.
Where we're talking about the fear of judgment.
Yeah. Yes. Go back and listen to it. Because Rosie has been struggling with the podcast, right? Like, you've been struggling. She has a lot of insecurities, a lot of fear.
Because it's not easy to be on the screen and talk openly about
yourself and stuff and your struggles.
It's not. It doesn't come naturally to me.
But neither does negative self-talk, because whenever I see you, whenever we hang out, and I'm like, oh, Rosie, you look so cute. You're like, hey, right, thank you. I got it at blah, 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 right? Like, but you give some people, not you, but the general you give some people compliments, and they're like, oh, yeah, thanks. I mean, I've had this for years, like, whatever. And they downplay the compliment.
Because they don't know how to take the compliment.
Because they're not rooted in positive mindset of themselves.
I'm learning that too as well. I'm learning to take a compliment and Because before I used to be like that. I used to be like, oh, thank you, no, but I just,
Yeah. We deflect the compliment because we can't accept it.
Yeah, and sometimes it's, and I read this somewhere, because sometimes it's, you don't want to be like, oh yeah, thank you, because then you're conceited.
Mm-hmm.
Or then you're like, some people will give you a compliment and they don't want you to take it really well.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a different conversation for some other time. But anyways, but no, I'm learning to just be like, okay, yes, thank you, yeah, because I know the effort I put into like looking cute, and and I feel it, I like it,
Yeah, it's okay to accept compliments, and it's okay to feel good about yourself. Yes. We should feel good about ourselves, and we should be our loudest hype man,
biggest fan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So how are some ways that people can practice positive self-talk?
Right. Use a lipstick if you're a woman.
Write it
on your mirror. I used to have that, or I would write verses down, or a quote or a poem, something that just made me feel good and just made me like, okay, I need to hear that every day. Yeah. Even if it's a song, if it's a worship song with positive words, go ahead and do that, because sometimes you need that. You really do. Another way is, I wouldn't say tattoo it on your skin, because that stays there forever. But if you need it, then you go ahead and do it. More power to you.
Yeah.
But if you want to write yourself a little love note, like throughout the day as a reminder, or just write it somewhere,
Yeah. Mine are Post-it notes. I put Post-it notes like on my computer screen on the corner.
Post-it notes everywhere too.
Yeah. Or a Post-it note on the mirror. Or I use like a dry erase board marker to write on my long mirror where I get ready.
Words of affirmation.
Yeah. Positive words about myself. I told you all about the app that I use to send me the notification. My favorite though is to have I create like the positive thing that I want to tell myself, like I am enough, or I can do this. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Like that Bible verse, I make it my wallpaper. I go on Canva and I make a cute little wallpaper, and I put it on my lock screen so that when I unlock my phone, right now it's a picture of me and my daughter, but when I'm struggling, thank you. When I'm struggling, I make it so right now on my inside screen, I have the word movement. This is my digital vision board in motion, because I told you my back is bothering me. Yeah. So these words remind me to tell myself that I'm capable of moving, and I am capable of motion, and I'm capable of movement. So that's one of my favorites, is to like have it on my phone. And the huge one for me is creating a playlist, a hype playlist. Yeah. That has songs that tell me my personal anthem is Fighter by Christina Aguilera. It's a really old song. Fighter, yeah. But because it reminds me that I am a fighter. I have made it through some of the hardest things. And when I am doubting myself, and when I feel like I'm not enough and I can't do it, I put on my playlist, and it helps me. Yeah. I sing those words to myself.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I have certain songs. I'm trying to think of a good one, but I can't. But no, you definitely need those songs that uplift you and that remind you, and just
yeah. So anything else?
No.
Yeah. So we talked about the importance of positive self-talk, how to practice positive self-talk, and the power of positive self-talk. I don't know if I already said that, but we also talked about the power of negative self-talk.
We talked about nothing but the power of.
Yeah.
No, we talked about the power of positive self-talk.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what we've been talking about.
Yeah. So if you are struggling with negative self-talk, reach out to us. We can help you formulate a plan. I know we gave you ideas, but I have worked with clients who struggle with negative self-talk, and then we develop a weekly plan on how to incorporate positive self-talk. And I have seen it transform lives. I have seen it change someone who is so stuck and so depressed that they can't do anything in the evenings to changing the way that they talk to themselves throughout the week. And they're eating healthier, they're exercising more, they're checking things off of their to-do list, they're buying their dream house, they're finally going on vacation, like all of the things that they've been putting on the back burner because of the way that they were talking to themselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is
The
powerful.
power of self.
Yeah.
The power of positive
self-talk. Yeah. There is freedom from the negativity. Wow. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Share the video. We would love to see some comments in the chat. Let's get the conversation going.
Yes. Yeah. I really enjoy the messages.
Yes.
We get the comments. And,
yeah. Let us know how
really fun to read.
Yeah. Let us know how the podcast is impacting your life.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.